Everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Welcome to the MotiveWave. I've not talked about this a lot lately, but I should be banging my head not for using this awesome platform. So instead of me trying to retrig all my charts in Python, I thought this would make more sense from a visual perspective to look at the data, put in what they call studies here in the lingo or terminology of MotiveWave. I'm using Oanda, so I'm using the same data source, just different visualization. So what you're looking at right now is an hourly view of a pair that's currently supposedly moving really good on an hourly basis. So what we have here is we have three calculations that we could use. First, we have support and resistance levels. We have our bid and ask volume and our standard deviation. This is what I'm currently using. You can clearly see we have an entry right here and some resistance notifications here using this very powerful piece of software. Get some crossing signals here. This looks like it might be a short cross resistance value. I have to really familiarize myself with this software. So here's some of the latest info available on this platform here. So we have, looks like we have a signal here, cross support. We have an entry right here, two cells right here. One thing we need to watch for is when we hit these ranges. Now, again, this is the last few days here. It's what I look for here in the green is the ask, red is the volume. So you can see here there are opportunities right here where I use this indicator, bid and ask volume, right here in real time to confirm where we're at. So let me see if I can break this down into maybe 15-minute chart. So somewhere in here, this is one of the other big reasons why I like using this platform, just to be able to transition between the time periods is just very quick, and it just offers so much flexibility here. So here's our entry that, or alert that we could say, yeah, we have an entry, but it's capturing it here, which is kind of too late. Here, just as a example, we already know that our bid and ask is dropping, or sorry, our ask is much higher than the bid in green. So it crosses about there, and you see that big drop there in the chart up here. Okay, so this little cross right here is a very good signal to tell you what's going to happen. Is that we're one step ahead, where all of a sudden, and again, this is on 15-minute data, but I bet you if I looked at this even more, you can clearly see that the asks are now higher than the bids, which drives up this price in this bar right here. I can break it down, but you don't see it in the volume. But something I don't use a lot is standard deviation. See here, I just learned this from my my webinar from somebody, thanks to them. This is a very interesting statistic. You can clearly see what's going on here is that the range bound, the standard deviation is coming off, it's dropping, so it goes into a range bound. Then we have a big move here down, and as the standard deviation starts to build, so does the price, and it's in correlation. Now I could probably break it down by 5 or 15 minutes to give you an idea, but here, just in the nick of time at the peak, right there is where we have the sell, and it's going down. That's what this price is telling you. That's pretty powerful. Now, the nice thing about this platform is, let me just see if we can do something called rate of change and see if we can get the same in what I'm looking at. So we have volume rate of change. That would be similar, I would assume. So let's track that as well. So knowing this platform, just as, I'm assuming this is some of the basics within the standard version of MotiveWave. It's very affordable for the full enchilada. If you ask me, I think it's worth it for the full ultimate edition. So here again we have our great documentation on the same level as J4, if you ask me, because I should be using this more. So here we clearly know where to look for this particular indicator. Again, volume rate of change. So this is the speed of change. So you can see here, this is really good. Let's test it out, see if it kind of works in line with what we're looking for. So we're study volume based, and then volume rate of change. So we want volume based. So if I go in there, go into study, look for volume. Here it is. So we are looking for volume rate of change. Let's see here, volume rate of change. I'm sure it's in here. It's blind as a bat. Interesting. We don't have it. We change PVO, speed gauge. That might be something similar to what I'm looking for. But let me just see. So we're looking for volume rate of change. Just go in there again. Volume, study, volume based. So percentage volume oscillator, positive volume index. So I'm going to look at that in a minute, but I want to know volume rate of change. I don't see it. I'm going to assume it's something like this, the speed gauge. So bottom right, that's the location, gauge 1, statistics, ticks. So it looks like it's going to use ticks as the level to measure it. Chart instrument, we are again watching the Euro Australian dollar. I'm only doing that because that's the only one on my watch list. Let me just verify that. Yeah, Euro US dollar. It's the same data source from Rwanda. So let me just see here. So we'll create it interval at 10 seconds. So here we go. Something very interesting. Let's see if this gets updated somehow. Let me bump it up to 1 minute, see what happens here. I have to figure out what's going on here. But, no, I'm not seeing a whole lot here. This is again on the 1 minute data. But you can see clearly the advantages you get with a platform like this. Oddly, I don't see volume based, better volume, VPCI, oscillator volume, speed of tape, maybe? Let me get rid of this thing. Oh, here we go. Yes, okay, no, it is working. It's this little guy right here. So it's very flat right now. Let me try another one. So what was it called? Volume based, volume profile, speed of tape. So we have signals. So we could put a signal, enable it, and then, oh, ticks hit, let's see what's going on here. So ticks at 15, number of ticks at 15 per second. So let me just get out of here. Let's just start watching this. Again, this is, so you have two ticks per every two ticks every 15 seconds on that gauge. 1 second. So it is kind of working. I bet you if I was to look at, I could do it. I have access to the IQ feed data, which is from FXCM, to be able to test the tick data from this. I could do that. But in the meantime, let's check out another one. So let's do another study, or add one here, volume. Volume-based speed of tape. Let's see if that does anything. Ticks, signals, options. So I could enable it. Add bar size, play sound, yes. So let me, options, new graph. Okay, so this is using ticks again. Let's create that. Okay, here we go. Interesting. So this is our speed of tick. So so that's now on the positive side. So we can see here something's going on in the price where the speed of the tape is looks like it's being driven up. This is very interesting. So we now have a new resistance level here. But to watch it in full time would be pretty interesting. Huh. Very interesting. There you go. So something is clearly, yeah. So the price has been building up. So there you go. So we have here, our price did move up when this guy moved in, and it's continuing, and you can clearly see, yeah, volume's building. So on a minute basis, you can see how the price is moving up with these combination of, and look at the bid and ask. So we see our asks are driven up much higher than the bid. Wow, look at that. This is a move. So I bet you if I was to watch this on momentum, very interesting. So I'm on the right track in terms of indicators. I mean, 1 minute, it's still fairly noisy, but if I was to switch this over to, you know, a slower time frame, it would help. But look at the accumulation here. Now, let me see here. This thing is just amazing. This platform. So let me just see what we can study here. Panel right here, the DOM. I will tell you, yeah. Okay, so this is limit orders. So right here at this price at 161. Look at that. So right now, our ask is much higher than the bid. We can also see the order book available. And this is what's going on. The level of, this is on the price, I believe. Let's see, so we can break it down by, oh, so that's only for live trading. No. Again, I'm just playing around with here. There might be ways to chart the volume here. Oh, there it is. There's your volume right here. So our volume's being driven up right now. It looks like a 166,61770. Very interesting. And then there's our price here at 10 million ticks. So yeah, but you can see the price is trending up. The standard deviations come off. But speed of tape, yeah, looks like, yeah, there you go. So right here, you can see the volume pickup on the price, but I'd have to watch this more. I'm just showing you how powerful this thing is. Let's see what else we have here if you would ever be interested. So we have a trade panel, bird's eye view. Bird's eye view of, guess this would be it here. Forgive me if I'm not really reading the documentation as I should. So we have bird's eye view, cursor data window. Something's happening here. So the asks and drop down the price. Huh. Wow. Let me see what else we can take a look at. Show analysis, alert window, trade panel. We're not using that. But there's so many things you can add in here. And then you also have out-of-box strategies that you can also add as well and have it automatically trade for you. Now, this is all fine and good, but let's just say we're going to ignore all this stuff and go back to, should I go back to, let's say 15-minute data. See if this changes at the 15-minute level. So here you can see on the 15-minute, so the ticks, yeah, that's what's, you see, but you can see clearly what's driving the price up is the asks are much higher, well, not much higher, but higher than the bids. That's why I'm watching this particular pair. But if I want to get all fancy on the price, I don't think it has candles, but Fibonacci, oh no. We could play around with the Fibonacci, which I will in a minute, but we have here the harmonics. Yeah, see, I'd have to individually apply each one, which not really. So let's see on the retrace from here. No, this will get messy real fast, but very interesting. So let's see what else. Another pair that I was watching. Let's see, Euro. That's the only one on the. Another one that was interesting earlier today was the pair US dollar against the Canadian. So we've lost that, so I have to add a new set, looks like, of where is it? This can be spanned out against multiple windows if you have multiple charts. So I guess I just lost all my indicators, so let's put them back in. So we were watching support, and well, first let's do the speed gauge, maybe this one. Okay. Then we wanted to do, I think it was an overlay, bid and ask spread. There we go, so it's adding here. So, no, let me just, we don't want an overlay, we want to add it as a separate, so we want volume, bid, ask. So we have bid ask indicator and bid ask volume. I could obviously enable the signaling here, but let's say, so right here you can see why the prices drop, because the bids are higher than the asks. And again, we are on a 15-minute time frame. Let's see here. There's not much else to really pay any attention to, but it's quite interesting that I should be really using this platform. The other thing I want you to know about MotiveWave is the brokers and supported data services. So if you are interested in crypto, you can do it with Crypto Compare, but do understand you only get access for just data. You don't get access to for actual live trading. I'm sure at some point they will work on that, knowing that how much of a demand it is. And this is one of the only platforms that I know that can do all of the major asset classes and talks to a lot of the providers and brokers out there, all the popular ones that you care about, and be able to use this platform with all the out-of-box indicators and studies and whatever else there is so much. Being able to determine and confirm theories instead of, in my case, kind of waste time developing it in Python and hope for the best that it works and doesn't work through Python, and then realize it may not work. So this is a better way to really, I guess, do your research in. So I just wanted to show you the Euro Australian dollar. I'm actually going to try out the tick and load it up and see what we can get. Hey everybody, new segment here. Just trying out MotiveWave, an older version of it, because I can keep multiple versions of MotiveWave. I think this is the last official released version of MotiveWave 5, let's call it 5X. I could probably find out here. So, oh, no, we don't want that. Hang on here. So, let's see if I can find about, no, so let's not do that. But we'll just call this version 5X. So, the thing here that's really important to know is that I have here using IQFeed. Now, if you want really good data, this is from FXCM, but it doesn't really matter. With FXCM, I'm able to, or IQFeed data, with tick, I'm able to go right down to the tick level that you can't do with other brokers. So I can always go back to what I was doing before, looking at the Euro Australian dollar. Let me just see here. Euro. So I have access to all the Euro and the U.S. exchanges. So this is what I have access to via IQFeed. So if I wanted to do any of these big exchanges, I have access to it, tick level and all. So this is not very expensive. Now 10.4. Let's see if I can find Euro. Anything Euro? Okay, so this is a really powerful data provider. Just so for those that may not know, there's IQFeed, the basic forex feed. On top of there's IQFeed, as I just showed you, this exchange or this provider called 10.4. So this gives me access to over 40 different forex providers out there, not just FXCM in this case. So in my case, I can look at pretty well any pair I want out there, contracts, I mean, it just boggles my mind. So I'm just going to randomly choose Now this is on Saxo Bank, I assume, Euro Australian spot. So let's see if this works. Now remember, I have access to, I believe, tick level. So let's see if this loads up. I've got so much access to stuff, it's crazy, and I'm not using it. I should be really focusing on, MotiveWave, because it just expedites my ability to look at data. I'm not really doing that. So I don't know why it's circling around like that. Maybe I don't have access to it. I don't know. Let's see if I do Euro again. Euro. So if you're familiar to Interactive Brokers, TWS, it's very similar. I have so much access to different instruments out there, but I'm not sure if I'm able to pull them in because of my connection and data access that I have with IQFeed. But IQFeed is very powerful to look at stuff. Looks like I might be somewhat limited here. Let's see if I have FXCM. So let's see, just to simplify it. So okay, so let's just stay with FXCM. Hopefully this will load up. Yeah, so I don't have the authority to look at Saxo Bank, but if I did, hey, wouldn't that be awesome? This shouldn't be happening as well. Oh, there we go. So we do have access to it. Question is, at what level do I have for the tick? Well, let's just stay with 1 minute data for now. So we are I'm not sure what this is, but let's bring in back the old. So we were looking at, what were we looking at? Volume based. See, we want speed of gauge. Okay. That helps. We wanted, where could I find, was it performance? Under here, performance. I'm sure you're yelling at me. There are some interesting indicators in here I didn't consider. Let me go back to my documents here. So we want let's go back to Google. We want MotiveWave. What do we call standard deviation? There's two studies I'm interested in here. There's a standard deviation. This one I'm very interested in. This SDC, the channel. Kind of works combined with Bollinger, as you can see here, the Bollinger, but with standard deviation 1 and 2. This might be something. Oh, I see. So you have to code it up. So yeah, you have to. Yeah. So we have start typing, add study, until you see it in the list. Add study. So let's see if I can find this. Add study. Yep. So we're going to add looking for no content in table. So, okay, we have standard deviation, but no standard deviation channel. Okay. All right. So let's do that. So we are again on 1 minute data. So we want to add in, was it under volume for the bid and ask spread? Volume based bid ask volume. Okay. So we have instances like here. Yeah. Our bid is higher. Sorry, our ask is higher than the bid. And you can see what happens here. When that happens, we have two bars. Let's see here. So right here, yeah. So there you go. You can see what happens there. When that ask goes over the bid, it definitely drives up the price. As you can see here, I'd be curious to see. See, right now, the algos are going to start piling in on this. As long as, oh, but you see what happened? The ask is now greater, so there you go. Yeah, so that's what's happening right there. The ask is exceeded. Oh yeah, a lot. But clearly we had an instance there just for about a minute, 2 minutes, where the ask was higher than the bid. So that would have worked. So this indicator bid ask volume is really good. What happens to the standard deviation? Good question. Doesn't budge, but here we go. The price drops. So the bid ask volume is very good for this. Let me see if I can do the support and resistance. No, we don't want that. Okay, so let me put in those support and resistant lines. So put in support, resistance oscillator. So you know what? I'm going to try this oscillator. Let's see if that does anything. So looking at that lags. I don't like it. Let's see if we can do support and resistance right on the chart itself. Support and resistance. Boom. So we have here. So support was established here at this price, probably because of this wick. Resistance needs to get up to there. That's all I can say is Another one that I could probably use. Let me just get rid of this guy. Let me add in the Fibonacci's. Let me see if we can use a study for it instead. Fibonacci Lucas retrace. Let's work with that. EMA is pretty popular actually. On the close, MA. Okay, I can obviously change these parameters, but let's see what happens here. This does not. It's one of those such scenarios where this is not very helpful. Let's just get rid of that. Let's see here. I could add in the Fibonacci via this, but I really need to document that. Okay, so we have a drop here. Interesting thing though is that the ask was higher. It stalled the price. Yeah, but you could definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, look at bid-ask volume as a very safe way to look at your trades for market direction, because and again, this is on minute data, so you can clearly see. So here's it crosses, and it looks like it's been picked up, so the price will get driven back again, as you can see here on the bid-ask volume, but it just drove up here on the red little bar. This is very cool to watch this. But the ask now is catching up. What happens to the price? And there you go, it's driven up. So if you're able to watch just this little guy right here, question is that all you need? Let's see what we have here, this TPO. Now, at this point, I'm going to drop that. Okay, but yeah, look what happened here. Price gets driven up when the ask exceeds the bid. The very killer stuff, but the question is what these little guys represent. So right here we have price moving up, price moving down here, which it did. Again, yeah, you know what? Look at this. This is very interesting on the standard deviation. Doesn't pick it up. Well, actually, it kind of does, because here you see this little up arrow, which is hinting at the price will be driven up. Now, I don't know if that's before the actual trade, because here, when it hits these flat lines right here, it's hinting it's going to go down, and it did. The price did get driven down. Here we have potential buy entry. Very interesting. You know, if I was just to watch these two, bid ask and standard deviation, I'd be very interested to see. So right here, if you looked at my watch list, let me just show you what I'm seeing here. Let's see here, PWD. What am I looking for? TMP. And if I was to load in the watch list for effects, this is what I'm tracking now, is standard deviation. So I can now, and this is hourly data here. We see what these measurements mean, and they are lining up. So I'm able to determine, so if it's a 0.0016, that's fairly high. Down here at 0.002424, and then we have some big price moves. And we have this negative move down here, which is at 0.0067. So the question is the standard deviation enough to use as market indicator? As a market indicator. We can clearly see, I can see why there's a signal for an entry, because it broke through this resistance line. So I'm kind of seeing what these mean, and you can also see here in this price, here and here, where it broke down and moved down below these support lines. So this is what these signals mean, is when you're using the support and resistance, if it breaks through the support, that's your entry. Now if you're using for short, this is your short right here for an entry there. Now the question is, if we have, for instance, here an entry right here, what do we use to get out of the trade? Because we kind of have one here and here, but unfortunately we don't know what we can use for this entry and what can be driven for the downside. I think the only thing we could use, looking at this, on the bid ask, is right here. Here's an entry. So if our ask exceeds the bid, that's an entry. And then we see two bars move up. And then, yep, just right here, right there, you can see that ask and bid cross, there's your exit right there to get out. That's on a minute basis. Let me confirm that. So let's say right here, yep, right there. You can see it in the bid and the ask. So the ask is about to cross the bid, and you can see now that the bid's not quite, sorry, the ask is not quite higher than the bid. A couple of bars moving, then all of a sudden right here, here, and here, you can tell the ask has moved up, so the price moved up. And again here, yeah, you can definitely use these bid and ask volume as a cross, and you got a big one right here. So I just figured something out here on the minute by minute basis. You can use the bid and ask volume, and you can see here, right here, on the standard deviation, that's your entry. But using the standard deviation, it's kind of too late because you missed out on that move. But if you used the bid and ask right here, this cross would have been your pretty damn close to your entry. Fantastic. And the other thing is we're using our support and resistance levels. Let me see if I can somehow put Fibonacci's here. So I'm going to assume right here, that's the low, and this would be the high. I got to blow this up. Okay, so I don't think the standard deviation means a lot, but let's just see if we can tie in. So right here we have our entry. Our entry. So we had a couple of entries here. So let me see. So here would have been an entry. So the Fibonacci is at 14.6 and 0%. But this is tough. We have our support here, resistance here, on these moves here. This is confusing. But we can definitely use the crosses, the bid and ask volume to kind of at least gauge it 1 or 2 bars ahead on the next move. That seems pretty definite. All thanks to MotiveWave. Just looking at this. But the only way we can measure it is by just using the bid-ask crosses, and once that ask starts to drop, that's when you get out of the trade. Interesting. So let me see if I can time it around 15-minute data. Okay. So again, let's see here. So we can only use this stuff here. So it's very tight. But we have an entry here, 1 bar ahead. We got that bar there, that up move right there. And it peaked, dropped off. Because we can see here at this particular bar, the bid started to move up, which means, yeah, get out of the trade. So that is 15-minute. Interesting. So I find that quite interesting. All right, so let me pause this once again. Everybody, new segment here. I've loaded into my MotiveWave using crypto compare now. So we're doing the Bitcoin only using crypto compare as the data source. So hopefully you've known about this big move that I talked about on Saturday. Hourly moves here. This was about 7 to 9% move. I wanted to apply the same logic as I've shown here on the bid and ask spread. So we're going to add that. So let's see what happens when we do that and track it on a minute-by-minute basis. See if we can see anything here. So quite clearly, you can see right now the ask at this point. Where is it? I guess I'm not sure why this is not lining up, but whatever. But you can clearly see right here that the bid is high, or the ask is higher than the ask. So guess what? We can clearly see it is driving up the price, and as the ask drops off, so does the price right here. Right at this point right here. Let's see if I can, I'm not sure. I guess there was a gap here. Let me see this on 5-minute data. So right here, we have a situation. Again, it's quite clear to me what's going on is that range bound here, the ask is higher just about right here, and it both drop off the ask and the bid. And then once the price, this ask right here gets driven up, so does the price. It seems to work okay on the 1 minute. It's quite the discrepancy there. I don't know where this data source is. I know it's crypto compare, but where the data comes from, which exchange, I'm not sure. See on the hourly what we can see here. So again, yeah, you can see somewhat here, even that daily move. Just this is it right here. This right here, the ask. Can I move this up? Okay, here we go. So right here, you can see what's happening. The ask in green is both driving up the price, and it's a little farther ahead than the actual price, and that's on an hourly basis. Let's see if I can see that on a 30-minute. Definitely. You can definitely see it right here where the ask is just starting to diverge higher than the bid. And it's a few bars ahead at least. I wish there was a way I could maybe show the lines. Let's see here. New page, new desktop, new watch list. Okay, doesn't matter. If I can see if I can draw lines. I know somewhere in here. I haven't used this enough. Doesn't matter. I don't want you to have to wait. Okay, but you can clearly see here, right? Okay, right here. This is what I was wanting. Just right here. It's maybe 2 bars. Looks like we have one. That's a 30-minute. I could bet you. Let's do it. 5-minute. So we don't. Can't go that far back. 15-minute. Same. So we're stuck with a 30-minute, at least that. Okay, so coming back to what I was wanting to show, right here, you can see the ask. From what I'm seeing on a 30-minute, you're at least 1 or 2 bars ahead. Hour. Yeah, there was an instance where it did show. I'm going to say you're 1 or 2 hours before that move, watching the bid and ask. Definitely that is something to consider. But I thought I'd put that out there, but I think these crosses of the bid and ask is definitely something to investigate. And that is something, thanks to MotiveWave, I'm able to see visually. Other than that, I'm not sure if that helps you out, but this will make the video quite long. Thanks for watching if you watched to the end. But hopefully this will be useful for anybody out there. We shall talk to you later. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.